I knew that cancer was a really big problem, but I'd never actually had any personal experience with it.
I didn't really know much about cancer. I never really thought about it. I did know it was like out there and that it's a really difficult thing to get rid of and that it's a difficult process to go through. But I didn't know that it was so like huge and how much it can change people's lives.
It was sort of just more like a scary myth than something that was actually real to me at the time, until Natalie was diagnosed in our 8th grade year.
Natalie used to sit in the front of the classroom, and she had lovely brown hair and the most beautiful brown eyes, and she was just such a sweet, happy, just a normal 8th grader.
She was just one of those people that you couldn't hate, you just couldn't. She was nice and she was funny.
I noticed that Natalie was beginning to have a cough and she was very chesty, and I remember saying to her one day, you know, Natalie, I honestly think you should be at home. So she went home, and it was after that, sometime after that, that they really found out that she had a tumor.
There was no science until suddenly there were, and then it snowballs, and then there you are.
And at first nobody really thought it was like serious, like we all just assumed she'd be out of the hospital in a couple days.
And once you hit diagnosis, your life completely changes. You lose everything overnight. We were having a meeting with the orthopedic oncologist, and he literally took Natalie and I by the hand, and we were surrounded by this team of doctors. I felt like they thought we were going to bolt or something, and they said, well, we're going to the hospital now, you're being admitted. It was that sudden.
I thought she was going to get better. I knew she was going to get better because that's what has always happened. People got sick and then they got better.
Like, it was just so out there to even consider the possibility of death. Like, it just wasn't even on the table.
Natalie had Ewing sarcoma, which is a rare form of bone cancer. She had a tumor in her hip, and because of it, she had to get her hip removed.
The surgery was excruciating just to remove her hip. It was nothing. I was not at all prepared for how bad that was. It was the most horrific thing I've ever seen.
And I think it was that weekend that opened our eyes to the fact that, like, wow, yeah, this was real, this was happening.
I had parents who got angry because they said we were sheltering her and keeping her from people, and they did not realize how devastatingly ill she was at this point. She had stage 4 cancer. I started writing the care pages and documenting just what was going on, and the many cases where she nearly lost her life due to severe infections. And that was the single most invaluable tool to helping her friends, her teachers, and parents understand the horror of what the treatment was like, the absolute sheer horror. We saw death on a daily basis. We saw horrible, horrible things, and these were the sweetest kids you'll ever meet in your life. And these kids they radiated hope even though they were so sick. And ironically, Natalie was 100% cancer-free when she died. She succumbed to a lung infection.
The day I found out that she had passed away, that she lost her battle with cancer, is the day I can say without doubt was the worst day of my life.
People, I think, were sort of confused. They were sort of angry.
I just couldn't believe it. I was so in shock that night. I was numb. I was crying for at least 10 solid minutes curled up on my bed. I couldn't believe that it finally happened. Like, that she was gone. Like, she wasn't here.
She had this whole future ahead of her. So many things she was going to do and should have done. And she should be sitting next to me in class today, but she's not.
Like, I keep telling myself all the things she could have done, and it's just really sad that her chance was taken away from her by something that could have been prevented. Like, I find that really, really upsetting.
I won't ever see her grow up. I won't be able to congratulate her for how hard she fought and how valiant she was. And I'll never be able to tell her how much of an inspiration she is to me.
I had to be at her side for an entire year, and that was wonderful. Who gets to spend a year with their child straight, every single minute of the day?
I have a little bag in my back closet and Natalie's picture is on it, and every time I go back I feel that I still have Natalie with me.
This is just one story, but so many people have cancer or have had cancer. And with so many people affected by cancer, why not put more money to stopping it?
Cancer treatment is ridiculously expensive, and I find that personally disgusting.
There's no way to anticipate childhood cancer, so the casualties are extremely high in pediatric cancer, and the money's just not there.
Little kids should not be having cancer and dying from it. That's really awful. And like, if you were a parent, would you want your kid to pass away before you? You don't want that, so the government should definitely maybe raise more money for it.
Even though the government is basically the sole funder of pediatric cancer research, they don't fund very much research at all.
They're supposed to protect our life, our liberty, and our pursuit of happiness, right? And I'd say our pursuit of happiness does not involve getting cancer. That tends to make people unhappy. And also, protecting our right to life. I mean, that kind of ties right in there with that.
Yes, pediatric cancer is a problem. It's a huge problem, but it's a problem you can help fix.
They said within 2 weeks of her first chemotherapy treatment, Natalie would lose her hair. And that day it all fell out, literally. I mean, I was brushing it, and by the end of it, it was gone. And that day, Eric, who had had cancer as a child, leukemia, he got a bunch of boys together, and they all went to the barber shop, and they all got their heads shaved.
And we brought them food, and we took turns like visiting her family and visiting her in the hospital. We sent her text messages, we sent her letters, we sent her cards, get well cards, we sent her one for graduation.
Support the person who is going through an illness like that.
Be there for them no matter how hard it is for you, because it's much more difficult for them.
Definitely don't just ignore it. Don't feel bad one day. Feel bad every day for those people, because it's not a one-day thing for them. It's an ongoing lifetime trauma.
In the few days that we were out, when we were out, we spent at least 12 hours a day getting blood and platelet transfusions.
One of the most useful things you can do is donate blood. Blood donations will literally save lives.
You could also start participating in events like walks for charity, or start raising awareness at your school. Even that helps, because then more people will be aware of it and they'll help fund it possibly too.
My friend Natalie in 8th grade was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma, which is a rare form of cancer. And so me and a couple friends, Talia, Chloe, and Kate, decided that we were going to fundraise for her. And what we did was we customized some Livestrong bracelets, and they said Faith, Hope, and Natalie, and we sold them for, I think it was $1 at school. And we ended up raising over $1,000 because of everyone's support, and we gave that to her family to help with the cost of the hospital treatments.
Nothing is happening with the pediatric cancers. Nothing. And in many cases, children are left without options because the medications are too expensive. The families can't afford them. Insurance won't cover it.
Childhood cancer is the leading cause of disease-related deaths for children between ages 1 and 19. And one of the reasons why this is that there are very few ways to prevent pediatric cancer, and that of the few ways that there are, people don't take advantage of them.
People don't go for annual doctor's exam, much less take advantage of things that could help early screen for things.
Cancer can happen to anyone. It's not some foreign disease that only random people get, because chances are you're going to know quite a few people in your life who are diagnosed with cancer and possibly pass away because of it.
Cancer's serious, cancer's real, you can't take it lightly. You don't know how long you have, because nobody knows how fast, like, you can just be gone.
You think that you don't need to worry about cancer because it's not going to happen to you, it's not going to affect you, you are wrong. Cancer affects everyone.